Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending our Chiro Touch webinar today with Dr. CJ Mertz. We are excited to have you here, and I will turn the floor over to Dr. CJ Mertz.
Erica, thank you so much. And I want to welcome all the chiropractors that are training with us at lunchtime today. If you only knew how many chiropractors were with us today, it would blow your mind. And I want to thank those of you who have returned. This has been a training series hosted by Chiro Touch, and we're very grateful to them. Today, we continue on with an amazing training about how it is that you go through the process of educating patients, but not just simply for informational reasons. It is to drive a viral effect for new patients. And here we are just a few weeks away from Thanksgiving. This training couldn't be more effective, more powerful between now and the end of this year. And then what do we do in the first quarter of 2024? So strap in. You may be actually having some lunch while you're doing this with me. Take your notepad out. Trust me, you're going to want to know these 5 dominoes of the domino effect. But I first thought I would share this survey. And if you would do this with me, I would greatly appreciate it. The question that I'm asking right off the bat is, which of the following statements most accurately describes you, doc, and your practice? A is we average consistently over 40 new patients per month. B is we average consistently over 30 plus new patients per month, but certainly would not be more than 40, right? C is that we average 20 plus new patients every month. And then D is we average typically, on average, less than 20 new patients per month. Please, if you would, go ahead and identify which one of those groups represents your practice. Now, we would have normally done this in a live survey training that our technology just wouldn't let it spin through for today. So I'm going to give you the answer to this, which has happened for over 4,000 chiropractors across the country. So what I'm about to tell you has tremendous legs, right? And what I want you to know today is 50% of our practice field, 50% of our profession is D, that they actually have less than 20 new patients a month. That should disturb you, right? That should light a fire under you. And if you're one of those people, today is a great day for you to be training with me. And I want you to know you do not need to stay there. Even if you've been there for a year or 3 years or 10 years, the clients that I train that have been in that D column that are now in the B column would blow your mind. So I want you to know a statement that I'm going to make right after I give you the rest of this information is going to be a game changer. So 25% of our profession is in the C column, which is just over 20 new patients a month. 15% of our profession is in the B column, averaging over 30 new patients a month, and 5% are over 40 new patients a month. I want to ask you, based on your answer, where do you want to be? And then here's that statement I promised I would make for you, and that is this. There are tens of thousands of people within driving distance of your practice that have a problem only you can solve. Meditate on that after you get done with this training, and something will come live for you. Men, women, and children, tens of thousands of people within driving distance of your practice have a problem. I didn't say that you could solve all their problems. They have a problem only you can solve. That sets the stage for a beautiful training here. And this actually is a world record in toppling dominoes. I want you to just feel this for just 30, 40 seconds, and I'll be right back with you.
Let's topple it.
Doc, it turns out that that is only a third of the world record that is part of this particular domino impact. I want you to know that there were 32,000 dominoes that were toppled in what you just saw. The reason why I bring that up is because I want you to feel that your patients have a domino effect possible, that there is a domino effect possible. I didn't see it early in my practice until I did. And so let me share for a moment for some of you that may never have heard me speak, or you've never watched one of my training videos or read one of my articles. I want you to know that my practice, I was stuck at 100 patient adjustments per week. And it felt like I just wanted to save the world, but I couldn't get out of my way. And I was absolutely stuck at 100 patient adjustments a week. And then 5 mentors came into my life, and I look back on it now and I know God sent them in the exact order that I needed to get them into my head, my heart, and into my practice. And then in 6 months, my practice goes from 100 adjustments a week to 100 adjustments a day. And then 8 months after that, my practice goes from 100 adjustments in the morning shift to another 100 adjustments in the afternoon shift. I want you to know that was so far beyond any goal that I could have ever set. I was blowing past goal after goal after goal, so far past anything that I could imagine, because what I was putting into my practice was so much bigger than any goal that I had originally set. How many of you would agree that if you're seeing 100 a week, setting a goal for 120 a week would be a good goal, right? 125 a week, right? But the idea of going from 100 a week to 100 a day just doesn't seem possible. But it wasn't just that. That would be amazing in itself. My PVA doubled and then halved again. So it wasn't about just serving 100 people a day, but they were only coming in for 20 or 25 visits, right? The average PVA today in chiropractic is 14 visits per patient, right? So I didn't want to be that. So now I'm seeing this PVA that's north of 55 on the way to 60 as my practice is reaching 100 a day, and then continued to grow as it went from 100 a day to 100 per shift. All of this has these 5 domino lessons I want to share with you at the absolute foundation. Imagine setting up your educational domino effect to impact 32,000 lives in your community, meaning that every new patient, doc, that you get in, whether they were referred by another great patient or they came in by maybe one of your social media ads, maybe it was a talk or a screening, right? There's a lot of different ways that patients can find their way to your practice. But imagine each one is essentially a domino, right? A domino in the community that you have, the neighborhood, the households in the neighborhoods around your practice. Imagine setting up your educational domino effect to impact 32,000 lives in your community. That's a picture I just want in your head and heart right now. The state of the chiropractic union would say otherwise. So listen carefully, because if this is actually speaking to you right now, I have a great answer for you. Less than half of all active patients, listen to this carefully, less than half of all active patients know the chiropractic story. They can actually say our chiropractic story. Oh, they're getting care and they're starting to feel better, but they don't know the chiropractic story. And of them, the ones that do, right, half that can say the chiropractic story, less than 20% of them share the story with someone else. This is where the profession is today. Some of you, again, may not know that because of the way my practice grew, chiropractors started coming to my practice to find out. They heard what I had built and wanted to find out how I built it. Well, within about a year, it became obvious that I needed to create some type of coaching program to lead people and chiropractors and their teams to be able to do what it is they wanted to do. I'm not suggesting that they all needed to serve 1,000 patient visits a week. I just realized all of them wanted to grow. They all just wanted to get better, and they just wanted to serve more people than they were. They wanted to earn more revenue, and they wanted to see patients staying under chiropractic care. They wanted to see that retention really a strong thing, and they all had that in common. Well, that led to a coaching program. Today, in the last 30 years, I've had the blessing of coaching over 16,000 teams in 20 different countries, speaking 12 different languages. So today, I just want you to settle in and recognize that what I'm telling you today isn't a hypothesis. This is what is happening. And I'm going to give you sort of the global, this is where our field is. I've traveled almost 4 million miles teaching seminars all over the world. So when I tell you that this is where the profession is, as the past president of the International Chiropractic Association, I can tell you with absolute certainty, this is where we are, but then bring it right back to your practice. So to make it as global and as personal as I possibly can today. So this is where it is. This is where it is. Now, most patient education today has failed to topple over, listen to this, beyond your front door. What does that mean? Well, I had this situation in my practice. I just wasn't aware of it. It wasn't like I wasn't educating. It wasn't like I wasn't sharing. What I wound up realizing was what I was saying to my patients never or rarely left the front door, meaning that it was going to be said to somebody else. So it was as if all the information, or the vast majority of information being shared, stayed in my office. It didn't leave my office. How about you? See, when I talk about impacting 32,000 other people in your community, I really mean that. I mean that your patients, each one of them, has their own domino effect to play. Jay Abraham says it this way, who is considered the marketing genius of the 20th century. And Jay Abraham went on to say that in his massive surveys, market surveys of the entire United States, it goes way past the United States, but in the United States, he said that the average person today knows 48 other people. And he made it clear it wasn't just like, you know, Facebook friends and people like you don't really know, like people that actually know you, that actually care for you, right? And that you know them and you care for them. The average person knows 48 other people. I just want to have you keep that in your head and heart for a moment as we go through this today, because what I want you to understand is that the average chiropractor today, their practice averages less than 0.25 referral per patient. Less than 0.25. So it's almost like thinking of a quarter of a person, which is strange. But we are so far away from the average patient just referring one other person. Like, that's gigantic, right? The average person just referring one other person. We're nowhere close to that. And yet I just said, your average patient knows 48 other people. I want you to take a bigger thought right now, even with a breath in and blow it out with me. Just leave some space for some brainstorming with me, if you will. I want you to reach big enough to see that your average patient would share 10% of the people they know with you and with chiropractic. So if 48 is close to 50, right? We'll round it to 50 people. Your average person should be sharing 5 family friend members for a chiropractic checkup in your practice. I would want you to see the average one patient coming in, every patient coming in, no matter what their age is, no matter what their occupation is, they're gonna share 5 of their friends, chiropractic and a checkup in your practice. Imagine that for just a moment. And then coming back to what I just said, we're almost at 0. The average chiropractor has less than 0.25, and it's less than that. So that kind of gives us the sense that whatever we may be saying, somehow it's not getting past the front door. So the design was never set up right from the beginning to reach 32,000 people. And that's what I got introduced to. And that's what I'm introducing to you right now, is the idea that no matter whether it's headache or back pain or numbness, fatigue, whether it happens to be some gut issue or neurological disorder, right? There's people that are coming in for all kinds of challenges, all kind of sickness, pain, disease that enter our front door. It shouldn't matter who referred them, how they heard about you, and what kind of maladies they have. It should be set up to where the domino topple effect is that we're going to impact 32,000 people in our community, because there are tens of thousands of people within driving distance that have a problem only you can solve. How do we get your message out of your front door? Well, 100 active patients in my survey would tell you that 50 of them know your story. The other 50 can't even say it. And of the 50 that know the story, only 10 might share it with someone else. And that's why we start to see the referrals, right? When I'm actually communicating with, and I communicate all day long with chiropractors all over the country, all over the world, one of the top 5 conversations we're having is new patients, is just a lull, a lack of, right, new patients. And then the conversation gets into, what do I think about social media, and what company do I think they should be using so that their ads are hitting better? And all of a sudden, we've just gotten so myopic to think that that's how new patients come. That's an illusion. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't be doing social media. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm absolutely telling you, that should be the icing on the cake. And when that is set up to be your cake, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad. And for that to even become cake, the amount of money that you would need to be putting in every month to make that work isn't worth it. Like, it's so much easier to understand what I'm saying to you today. And remember back to that group of people that are less than 20. Do you know how many of that group is less than 10 new patients a month in that group D? So I want to see every one of you in group C plus, right? So there isn't a chiropractor on earth that shouldn't be averaging at least 1 new patient every day, right? That should be just like your minimum expectation. 25, 30 new patients a month, that's got to be your minimum. And then working from there based on what your goals are and your passion to help that many more people. But this situation here, it's telling us that of the number of people that are actively being served, a very small percentage are walking out our door and sharing it with somebody else. So the domino effect literally means that your patient education dominoes are precise, they're properly spaced, and they include every patient. And when you come into your practice tomorrow, right, when you actually recognize what I'm saying and you realize I can start this domino effect right now. Some of you, I would suggest, have already started the domino effect, but then there's a spacing issue and then it can't continue. How many of you have maybe even set up dominoes before, or maybe watched one of your children do it, and you realized that the spacing wasn't quite right? So there were 2 or 3 or 4 that toppled over, which was perfect, but it didn't get to the 5th one, and it's quiet. It just stopped. And all the rest of the dominoes, they're still standing, and none of them have been impacted because there was a spacing issue. In these 5 dominoes that I'm going to talk about today, I just want you to recognize that with the proper spacing, you're going to reach the 1 to their 48, the 1 to their 48, the 1 to their 48, and it's going to happen every single time. That's how big chiropractic is. That's how bad the health issue is in the United States. So there's 5 patient educational dominoes that are required to reach the many. Let's just use the many right now, my friend, as all of those people that you would love to meet, right? So we don't even have to put numbers to it. It doesn't matter if it's 100 a day. I don't want to necessarily leave it to that. Just raise your hand with me if you want to serve more than you're serving now. Yeah. So let's that be the many, right? It's those people that are in households literally right around the corner from your practice. People that drive by your office every day, they should come in for a checkup. They should find out what chiropractic is. They should find out how you can help them with the very issues that they're not sleeping right, they're not turning right, they're not lifting right, they're not digesting well, they have fatigue, and it goes on, and they still haven't come in to see you. And yet these are people that your patients know. They go to work with them, they're neighbors, they go to church, they play recreation with them, golf, tennis, whatever it may be. They're related to them. There's all these ways, right? They go to their school, and they still haven't connected with you. That should be something that you see in the next few minutes will be done with forever, as it was for me and has been for so many thousands of the wonderful chiropractors I've had the blessing to train. So here's domino number one, our mission, your mission, right? Your mission is to teach every man, woman, and child in your community how their body gets sick and how chiropractic works to get them well and to keep them well for life. That's our mission. Watch this. And Mary, that's the person right in front of you, right? That's the one. And Mary, I need your help. Can you just repeat that with me for a moment? Mary, I what? Yep, I need your help to spread this message to your friends and family. That's the 48, right? There's the one and there's the 48. Do you know how many times that chiropractors just simply miss saying what's on the bottom of your screen right now? Oh, I know they're thinking it. I know they feel that, but out of their CA's mouth or out of their mouth, that really just doesn't happen. Notice that we connected the mission to having it come outside your front door to their friends and family. There's something immeasurably powerful about domino one, and really domino 2, 3, 4, 5, they can't happen without domino one. So I believe these are sequential. So your mission is to teach every man, woman, and child in your community how their body gets sick. That actually then says and presupposes that chiropractic is for everyone, every man, woman, and child. And we're going to see in the next few dominoes how we're going to back that up. Like how can we say such a bold thing, right? And if chiropractic is for everyone, and by the way, it is, then it certainly is. It's then imperative for Mary to share this with her friends and family, because her friends and family are part of everyone. You just want to make it as passionate and as personal as you possibly can, which is why we're talking about friends and family. That's their 48. But it's really not about them talking with their friends and family about anything. It's about your mission. And I want you to imagine something right now. Imagine that your practice, listen carefully, is the headquarters of the Lifetime Family Wellness Movement in your town, starting today. See, that's what happened in my town. And since then, that's what's happened in every one of my clients' towns all over the country and all around the world. They are now the headquarters of the Lifetime Family Wellness Movement in their community. Notice the key word, well, there's a lot of keywords there, is movement, Lifetime Family Wellness Movement. So that speaks of mission, right? Why is that so important, Doc? Let me get you here. You are bigger than your practice. What you're doing is so much bigger than your practice is just simply where you see your patients. But when I start to think about the size of your mission doesn't fit inside your practice. That's just simply where my team shows up, and that's where my patients get served. But my mission's so much bigger than that. And if you could visualize that, then this first domino comes alive. And then that person that's right in front of you, Mary, can understand this amazing outreach from you to her, which is to say, and Mary, I need your help. There isn't better language on planet Earth right now than what I just said to you. Because you know, when people actually hear those words genuinely coming from you, I need your help, they rally. Do you know how much people want to be part of something bigger than themselves? And here in the first domino, we're talking about a mission. We're talking about you being the headquarters of the Lifetime Family Wellness Movement in your community. And Mary, I just want you to know, our team, I need your help to spread this message to your friends and family. Your first domino must be connected to those outside your practice, or it fails from the beginning. So your chiropractic education has to be connected to people outside from the beginning, right? And that's when that activates, right? And so what you're teaching your patients then walks out of your office and it gets shared with somebody else, because that's how it was set up from the beginning. I know you're picking this up. Less than half of the field today states their mission to their new patients. And of those, less than 20% ask who they have shared it with. So this should kind of tell you the plight of what's going on with chiropractors all over the country. These are amazing people. These chiropractors, they have, good hands, good hearts, good minds, and they're absolutely stuck in practice. But when you look at what I just shared with you, less than half of the field today even says or states to their patients, there is a mission, I have a mission, and less than 20% of those same docs ask who they've shared the message with, like there's no circle back, if you will. Well, that should kind of tell you where the plight is. So I don't want you to think that what I'm saying and sharing with you today is complicated. I simply want you to know it's simple, but it's not easy. So breaking news, and this may be the biggest piece of wisdom you've heard yet. Pain is not the first domino, and you might have thought, well, for sure, when people are out of pain, they're going to go tell other people, and my practice is going to fill up with patients that have been referred by other people that have had this huge breakthrough and they're out of pain. Do you know how many chiropractors across the country just in this month have had the most amazing breakthroughs? See, I'm in this really cool place. I get hundreds and hundreds of these connections. Like I get to hear so many, not all. I get to hear hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of breakthroughs every week, all week long, all month long. You would think that those practices would be filled to the brim, have waiting lists of new patients simply because of what great work chiropractic is doing in these patients' lives. If all it took was a chiropractor to help a person get out of the pain that they walked into your office with, and that was the reason why they referred, the average chiropractor would be serving 500, 600, 700 patient visits a week minimum right now, minimum. Couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop it because people would just continue referring all their friends and family. If pain was the first domino. What I will tell you is that people can get out of pain because chiropractic always works. Say yes to that, right? Chiropractic always works. And so people's bodies are healing and they are improving. And what they walked in with is no longer there. That headache, that back pain, that migraine, whatever it is. And they are satisfied. They're appreciative of you and your team. And they might not have told anyone else. There's a term for this. I want you to understand there's a huge number of people, and it's not necessarily their fault. I'm going to tell you it's your fault and it's my fault, right? These people, here's what they've become: consumers. So there's a raving fan in chiropractic, and then there is a consumer. Now, the consumers, they pay for your care. They're kind people. They come in, they lay down on your adjusting table, they get whatever therapies they're gonna get, the care that you provide, and they're paying you for it, and they got the result. And I'm telling you, this is what's gonna happen. They're appreciative, they're satisfied, and sometime not long from now, they're just gonna drop away from care. And you're just not gonna see them anymore. And if you actually went back and did some research, you'd realize, gosh, we don't see anybody that they've directly referred. I don't see a referral from them, but I certainly see from my own records, gosh, chiropractic really helped them, and by their own mouth, right? They've actually testified so much, doing so much better. And we're always grateful for that, right? You understand that the majority of chiropractors today are running a consumer-based practice. I am showing you the raving fan practice, and I am telling you that there's a fork in your road, meaning that almost any patient can be a consumer or a raving fan. How you educate and how you lead them determines which road they take. And the consumer will pay you and they will leave and they may or may not refer. The raving fan will pay you. They will continue on with their care and they're going to tell 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Well, you can just imagine what the difference in those practices are, right? From the revenue, from the absolute revenue that those doctors are achieving, the PVA that they're achieving, the patient adjustments per week that they're achieving, all of those practice results are just crazy, right? So if pain was the first domino to patients sharing chiropractic with their friends and family, just imagine how big your practice would be. But it's just not the case. So note, patient education and patient referrals are different sides, my friend, of the same coin. And that's probably one thing early in my practice I just didn't know. I just didn't get it until I did. And so today what you're hearing is that I'm actually, as I'm saying patient education, the first domino was your mission-based statement, and then I need your help, right, Mary? I need your help. And then leading them to share it with their friends and family. Education and then referral are two sides of the same coin. Okay, so that leads us to the second domino. How you doing, right? So let's add then the second domino of the domino effect. This is a very real thing in chiropractic all over the world, the domino effect. Think about this, 7.9 billion people on planet Earth right now today. 70 trillion cells, that's what each one of them has. There are estimated 26,000 diseases. There are 26,000 known diseases on planet Earth today, and there's one innate intelligence over the nerve system which controls all healing and repair, and every one of the 7.9 billion shares one innate intelligence. What's the coincidence of that? I mean, think about each of us has our own fingerprint, right? We are so different in so many different ways, right? And we look at your genetic makeup and my genetic makeup and your color eyes and hairs and the height, the weight. I mean, we could go on and on about just how different you are from me and everyone else. And 7.9 billion people operate off one innate intelligence. We have 8 different blood types, and there's all different types of blood types. There's one innate intelligence. So I'm going to share this with you more than once. Notice I've said it 3, 4 times, because do you know that the average patient today can't say that? They do not get what I just told you. These are patients. They're under care, and for whatever reason, it has just not come to them that there's 7.9 billion people, and then I think about their friends and family, right? We all share one innate intelligence, which happens to flow over your nerve system and controls all healing and repair for all 7.9 billion. For every one of your friends and family, we all heal and repair exactly the same. It's the innate intelligence that flows over the nerve system. Did you know that, Mary? Did you know that, Sam? See, and I think that's so important for your friends and family to know, is this is where sickness comes from, right? Let's continue. So as we see this, we recognize then as the 7.9 billion people, and we're starting with the 48 friends and family, are really getting how them or their spouse or their children, how their body works, like, and how it gets sick, this is where the lid comes off. In 2020, right? And we're just talking about the start of COVID, right? It wasn't that long ago at all. The amount of information in the world was said to be 44 zettabytes. Trust me when I tell you that's a lot of bytes. But by 2025, it's estimated and expected to exceed 463 exabytes. What's the takeaway from this? The amount of information that is happening in the world today through the internet and beyond is multiplying in a way that maybe we can't even track. And what you know, as I know, is the amount of information that is coming at people today is overwhelming. And so it's happening from their software, it's happening from apps, it's happening from their email, it's happening from the internet, right? It's happening from their mailbox, right? It's happening from everywhere you could imagine. There's already too much information that your patients need to deal with, and it's only exceeding itself, at a logarithmic pace. Why is that so important? As fast as the world information is expanding, is as committed that you and I must be in shrinking the cause of all sickness and disease. We don't want to be heading in the same direction the world is going, where everything seems to be so much more complicated, so much more information. No, no, no. We actually need to shrink it. There's 26,000 diseases, and we need to shrink the cause of all sickness and disease. 26,000 health problems, and there's one cause. And remember, what we said in the second domino here is there is something called innate intelligence. It flows over the nerve system, and it flows over the nerve system for 7.9 billion people. I've always loved this phrase, if your spine was on your face, that you'd take better care of it. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. That should be a t-shirt that maybe you're putting out in your practice. Well, that leads us to the third of 5 dominoes today. And I pray that this is just clicking in like crazy for you, because I believe that what happens is we tend to tell one patient one thing, and then we might tell another patient another thing, as if like the educational process isn't lined up. Well, that's your domino effect that I'm talking about, right? So it shouldn't matter their age. It shouldn't matter their race, creed, color. It shouldn't matter what their symptoms are. They fall under the universal law, the universal principle, the domino effect of this is what every one of our patients is going to learn, starting from our mission and that we need your help, right? And we then go into the first domino, and we talk about how that innate intelligence flows over the nerve system. And what's interesting is that of all the ways that we're different, every one of us shares one innate intelligence, and it happens to be responsible for all healing and all repair in our bodies. Well, the third domino is that there's only one thing, just one. Notice how simple we're creating that information flow. Why is that? So they can actually say it to someone else. The more complicated that your message is, and it has so many different things and so much different stats, and like that's never going to get out to your front door. They're just not going to share it. But when people really get, hey, you know what I realized from my chiropractor today is that as different as we all are, do you know that the intelligence that flows over our nerve system, it's the same. It's called innate intelligence. It's the same in you. It's the same in me. And it's responsible for all my healing. I had no idea. I don't know why I didn't know that, but it's responsible for all healing and repair. There's only one thing that impacts the spine and nerve system, and that is stress. And you know of it as the 3 T's, right? Negative thoughts, toxins, and traumas. The question is, who has stress? And the answer is 7.9 billion. There's no one on planet Earth that can escape it. So if you asked your patients, hey, so Sam, I'm just curious, do you find yourself actually dealing with stress from time to time? What do you think the answer is going to be? 100% of the time. So everyone knows it, but it's almost like the secret handshake. And for whatever reason, it's really not leaving your office. Like everyone's heard about it, everyone knows something about it, but it's not being used as a way to put new patients on your schedule book, because there's tens of thousands of people within driving distance of your practice that should be on your schedule book. How do we get that? How do we ignite that, right? That's where we're going right now. And when this happened for me, I lost control in a good way, right? The number of new patients coming onto my schedule book just continued to grow from the domino effect I'm sharing with you right now. It doesn't have to be harder than this. So this third domino is about the one thing, right? So there was just one innate intelligence, right? There's just one, and everyone has it. There's just one stress, watch this, and who has it? Everyone has it. That's the magic of what I'm teaching you, which is why a domino procession is even possible. There's one intelligence that's responsible for all healing and repair, and there's one, just one, there's one thing, stress, that impacts the spine and nerve system, and that affects everyone. And it affects them every day through negative thoughts, toxins, and trauma. So to be very clear, maybe even take a screenshot, I would encourage you, so that these are things that you can say. It's something that you should probably have memorized, but at the very least, sitting, standing, reclining, walking, playing, running, jumping, working, eating, sleeping, cooking, cleaning, working out, driving, lifting, twisting, turning, breathing, worrying, talking, texting, typing, if we weren't sure like what stress is, this screen has lit up the board for you, because when you think about men, women, and children in your town, like who's doing any of that? And are they typically doing more than one of those things? And then are they doing it improperly? Improper sleep, improper eating, improper, and go on and on and on, which is why we have something called text neck, because that's actually happening improperly as well, right? And so when we talk about negative thoughts, toxins, and traumas, do you know it's estimated today that the average person in the United States will come in contact with 500 toxins in just an average day? So when I talk about negative thoughts, anxiety, worry, fear, doubt, toxins, negative thoughts, toxins, and traumas, what you need to understand is the average person's leaving their house, even before they leave their house, their nerve system can be affected in a way that it cannot adapt to its environment in the way that it could and should, the way it was designed to do, which means the body now can get unhealthy. The body goes from being healthy to unhealthy, and then from unhealthy to sick. And that's where pain and sickness and disease would be evident, right? But people can be in that unhealthy spot for weeks, months, or years before they actually get sick or diseased. And all those things on the screen today are what is driving what I'm talking about. You have a mission for your patients to help you teach the world how everybody gets sick through one intelligence flowing over the nerve system caused by stress of daily life. So that screen right here, like that just put domino 1, 2, and 3 like on one screen right there. And which one of your patients should be able to go say that is really the question I have on my heart to your heart today, is who can say that? Who's saying that? And then when they say that, and they just happen to say, yep, and so, you know, it's my headaches and that's why I went in, but it could be any one of a number of things, right? It could be low back pain, it could be gut health, you know, it could be depression, it could be, you know, referring pain, you know, it could be so many different things, but what we got to do is make sure that we just get your nerve system checked. And you just happen to be the expert in your whole town on that. Tens of thousands of people within driving distance. And every patient becomes a domino that now has 48 other people that they're going to share this with. Less than half of all active patients in the field know and believe this story. And of those, less than 20% are sharing it. I had shared that with you earlier. Here is, though, right there, this screen right here should be an amazing sense of encouragement for you, of motivation for you. The fastest growing practices on earth. Let's just stop there for a second. I have helped more chiropractors grow over 300 patient visits a week than all other consulting programs combined. I don't say that to impress you, simply to impress upon you my knowledge of what it takes to grow. And these are 4-day-a-week practices, right? So they're not working 6 days a week and 12 hours a day. They have incredibly well-trained teams. They serve at an unbelievable level. And the domino effect is very real in their practice. Look at what they have in common. 80% of their patients know and believe the story that I'm sharing with you, and half of them are sharing it with friends and family. So notice nowhere there was perfection. I'm not saying that you need to be perfect. I've never been perfect, and I don't anticipate I ever will be. I just continue to get better, and that's what I'm asking you to do, just to raise your bar and just get better. And see, these same chiropractors, they were part of the group I was telling you before. Only half of their patients even knew it at best. And at best, only 20% of their patients were sharing it. Now look what they're at. 80% plus of their patients actually know and believe it. That should tell you how passionate they are, that no one gets left out, no man left behind, right? It's like there's no one that's not going to get these 5 dominoes, no one. There's just no reason why they wouldn't get it. From the mission to the one intelligence to the one thing, the stress, they get it, right? That right there should be your next target. And then I think about just making your practice that much easier, right? So there's no question. I was talking to 2 of my clients just in this last week, and what we were talking about was the fact that, and they both said it, and I wasn't talking to them at the same time. So this is clearly the number. And here's what I'm talking about. They have server-based software. And they came to me and they said, Coach, listen, my server is up for renewal. Like I need new servers. And what I got estimated, they both said this, was $10,000. Do you know how many times I've heard 10,000 just in the last 2 months? And so chiropractors everywhere are having to deal with the fact that servers are going to need to be replaced. And that is going to be about 10 grand, right? And so I said to both of them, I said, look, I'm telling you right now, this isn't an if, it's a when. Cloud is your future. Like server's not your future, cloud's your future. Rather than investing another 10,000, into the servers, check out the cloud. And the ChiroTouch cloud is just where everyone is trying to set their bar to, right? Amazing compliant soap notes, and the notes happen so effectively. You look at chiropractors that are doing 100 a day or more, and how quickly they're able to, like within 2 or 3 entries, just so quick, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, they're done max, with the best, Medicare level soap notes ever. Access it anytime, anywhere. So many chiros now being able to even actually use iPads in their practice. They are all in one dashboard, so you can actually see the results, the KPIs from your practice so much better. There's so much to this. In fact, what I'm going to suggest is for 2 groups, there's 3 groups listening to me right now. And again, I thank all the chiropractors coming on. The first group are those of you that actually are ChiroTouch Cloud users. And for you, I'm just telling you, you're at the top of the mountain. Well done, and continued success. The second group are people that are actually using ChiroTouch, but the server model, right? The server model, the installed model. I'm going to suggest something to you. I'm going to suggest that it's in your chat box right now. There's a link where you can just set up a Calendly link to get a demo to see what's the difference between what you're using right now and the cloud. It will blow your mind. And that transition is easier than you could imagine. And I have something special for you for doing that. Hey, it's 15 minutes out of your day. It's the smartest thing you'll ever do. The third group are all of you that are not using ChiroTouch. You're using something else, and it probably is a server-based product. I'm going to ask you to take a test drive. That's all it is. Just 15 minutes. Set up a demo. By the way, you'll see that it's in your chat box right now. Check it out. There's a Calendly right there. Just pick a day and a time, 15 minutes, and you will see, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So it may not be the right time right now. It might be, next quarter or whatever. I'm not suggesting it's the thing that you're going to do tomorrow, but take the test drive now. Do the demo and then get a sense of, for sure, in 2024, I am going to be cloud-based for my future. That's where the world is going. That's where our profession has already gone. Having servers went out with the hula hoop, just so you know, right? So I love you, but we got to go cloud. And then, by the way, for those of you who are going to get that demo scheduled, all you got to do is get it scheduled. And what's going to happen is, and this will be sent to you immediately, you're going to wind up getting a ticket. And what's that ticket for? It's a $595 ticket to my practice building event, January 19th and 20th here in Austin, Texas. That will become a gift for you simply scheduling your demo. So do that and see what's possible for you on the software side. Now let's keep rolling and get into the 4th demo, because I want to make sure the domino, and then the 5th one, and that is this. We talked about stress being the 3rd domino. It's the one thing, right? It's the one thing. Now, if you look at this screen, notice at the very bottom, it says pain, sickness, and disease. So out in the world, there's definitely a connection between stress and what people would say getting run down. Would you agree? Say yes if you're with me on that. Yeah, so it's just, I've had so much stress and it's just been kind of an overwhelm, and I feel like it's either run me down, or I've noticed it's really run down my son, or it's really run down my spouse, it's run down my friend, it's run down my brother. Yeah, he just looks run down. Stress and run down. So that's like the first box. And the 4th box, what the world doesn't know is the reason why you are as valuable, as invaluable as you are. And the reason why they need to spread the message like wildfire is the second box. Listen carefully and write this down. Stress, and who has it? Everyone, right? And how often do they have it? Every day. Okay, so stress attacks the nerve system first. No one knows that. The second box is missing on planet Earth. Stress attacks the nerve system first. Well, who has stress? How often do they have it? 7.9 billion people, one intelligence flowing over the nerve system that controls all healing and repair. And one thing, stress, negative thoughts, toxins, and traumas attacks the nerve system first, which is the thing that controls all healing and repair, which leads to the third box, which absolutely lowers the state of function, right? We talked about healthy, unhealthy, right? So we've just gone from healthy to unhealthy. We may not be sick yet, right? We may not know it yet, but we're absolutely unhealthy. So there's stress that absolutely attacks the nerve system first, leaves us in a lowered state of health. And then the fourth box is what people walk in with. It's now I know that I'm hurting, right? And I'm fatigued, and I've got these headaches, and I've got this pain, and I've got this stiffness, and I've got this numbness. That's all fourth box. The second box is what is exploding chiropractic practices all over the country, because it's walking out the front door through the mouth of your patient who knows and believes it and is now sharing it with their friends and family. Come on, say yes if you get that, right? This is what needs to happen with every patient. Doesn't matter what their condition is. And when these 5 dominoes are underfoot for you and your CAs, you can't stop it. An optimal functioning spine and nerve system is our mission for every man, woman, and child in our community. See, and that's about teaching people how the body gets sick and how chiropractic helps the body get well and stay well for life, creating an optimum functioning spine and nerve system. Well, that leads us then to this 5th simple but amazing domino. Did you know that the most valuable patient education, the most valuable education that you have is your checkup? And I don't know if maybe, but for the first time, because I know that was true for me many years ago, when I first heard that, it was like my skull cracked open. It was like, what did you just say? The very thing that you do, the consult, exam, the scan, that right there is the greatest education on earth. And so the more people that can come into your practice and experience your day one, so they can actually go through and realize, gosh, there's probably past traumas and stresses that have led to this. And this meaning all the conditions that I have, my ailments, if you will, right? My pain, sickness, and disease. I find out that my posture is imbalanced, and I find out that my legs are not balanced. I have all kinds of issues, and that you've palpated and you've done scans and you've done x-ray. And by the end of it, they get a report. There's no greater education on earth than somebody seeing the truth about what's going on with their spine and nerve system, since that's what's in control of all their health and healing for life. A chiropractic checkup of the spine and nerve system is the key for the earliest detection and correction of the one cause. And so for your patients to get the best education that your friends and family could get about truly where they are, to get a score, to really get where is the health of my spine and particularly my nerve system, have them just come in for a checkup. Let's make sure that this month, for example, in this month of November, what my clients are doing all over the country is a canned food drive. You know how we set it up? We said, let's feed 50 needy families. So we have this big mission of feeding 50 needy families that would not otherwise have a Thanksgiving without this type of support. Our clients just simply get connected with like a distribution center, typically a church. And so we wind up collecting all this canned goods, and then it gets sent to the distribution center, and they're going to wind up making sure that all the needy people get to it. That's not necessarily your job, right? But why would we do that? So that our patients could tell their friends that for the cost of 3 to 5 canned goods, they could come in and what would normally be a $250 consult, exam, x-ray, they could get that. And why would they get that? Because you're helping us feed 50 families, and we want to thank you for that. And meanwhile, you wind up actually getting your spine and nerve system professionally evaluated for the first time in your life. What a win that is for you. And then for our patients who are actually sharing that, we put all of their names in one big raffle. We have something like a Kindle Fire or maybe a flat screen TV or something. And we'll have like a raffle for everyone that actually shared this with their friends and family. Somebody is going to win a grand prize drawing. It's just win, win, win all over the place. Do you know the number of new patients filling up schedule books right now as I'm telling you this? It's because of the 5 dominoes, though. It's not because of the canned food, it's because of the dominoes. And so there's all types of marketing programs I can teach you, and I'd love to teach you over the year that we use, but they only work because of the 5 dominoes, right? So I know you've taken good note on this, and I want you to understand helping sick people get well and stay well isn't a slogan. It's your mission, and it's changing the paradigm of the people in your life, in your community, which is what your mission is, right? And so having your patients feel like they're actually part of your mission may have been one of the biggest missing components in your career. I know it was for mine early on until I realized how hungry we all are to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And so our patients, for sure, they're coming in and they're hurt, right? And for sure, they want to make sure whatever they're doing is going to work for them, right? It's very selfish, if you will. And I'm happy with that, right? They're very focused internally on, I just need to get this. I've been hurting for way too long. I need to get this fixed. I get it. We're not discounting that for a second. The moment they hear that you're the headquarters of the Lifetime Family Wellness movement in your community, and there's just one intelligence that's in control of all of the healing and repair that happens not only in your body, but for your friends and family, I need your help. I need you to be able to share this so we can have that impact, right? Or that we can make that difference. Do you know how that activates the people that are coming into your office? They're moving from consumer to raving fan because you're leading them that way. These are the opportunities that you have in front of you. You get these 5 dominoes down pat, and you are off to the races. If you have a question about that at all, cj@cjmertz.com. That's all you need to do, and I'll make sure to answer any other questions you have about this. I want you to go ahead and schedule for that demo with ChiroTouch, and I want to make sure that you get a ticket. I believe there's 15 or 20 tickets still left. So be one of those that actually gets to meet me in Austin. I can't wait to share that with you. Your mission, your practice procedures, your patient education, and your internal promotions, when aligned, produce lifetime family wellness and record-breaking growth and revenue every single time. And that's the beauty of these 5 dominoes, is that your mission, your actual procedures in your practice, your patient education, and your promotions, do you understand? Those are dominoes in themselves. Everyone should topple the other. Do you remember those beads that you'd see? It hits and it hits another one, and then it comes up here and it hits back, right? It's kind of like what I'm talking about with your mission, your practice procedures, your patient education, and your internal promotion. They should just keep running into each other and building and multiplying on top of one another. This is the power of the domino effect. And I want to just really thank you. Thank you for this time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share what I love so much with you, is seeing you just continue to grow in your practice. Keep it simple, keep it continuous, keep it fiercely engaging. And that's what the domino effect is really all about. So if you also would like to schedule a practice evaluation with me, where you can actually wind up getting a 20 to 30 minute evaluation, I'm going to tell you exactly how I would recommend you solving the problems that are occurring in your practice right now. If my coaching program fits, great. If not, you'll leave with a battle plan where you really feel, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is what I should do to create the best 2024 possible. That should be in your chat box as well, right? Just go ahead and schedule that with me. Again, it could be at success@cjmertz.com. You see that here. I'll leave that on the screen, success@cjmerch.com. And you can schedule with me, and I look forward to the opportunity of serving you. I want to thank again ChiroTouch for being such a great host. I want to thank you for taking your lunchtime out to be with me. Can't wait to hear your feedback on how you're putting your domino effect in place. And until next time, and as always, practice with passion. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and God bless.